We have amazing minds in this panel, representatives from business, industry associations, professional associations, government, innovation ecosystem builders. So I really hope that the discussion today will cover different aspects of the cybersecurity sector development in Lithuania. It will be entertaining, enlightening, and inspiring as well. I'm really hopeful we will also share some practical takeaways for the audience, for the business and government representatives in the audience, something that we can all do to promote better culture around cybersecurity and see how we can continue lead as a country in this field. So first of all, just a very short introduction how this theme came about and why we think it's a relevant theme. So Lithuania has been recently ranked by the Global Cybersecurity Index as one of the leaders globally, 6th globally and 4th in Europe for cybersecurity. It's a massive achievement. But it hasn't happened by chance, right? Or did it?
No, it didn't.
It didn't. So I would like to sort of start off with a bit of that history tour, you know, what historical events triggered our efforts and what steps were taken to actually move Lithuania, transform it from, you know, not necessarily laggards, but somewhere, you know, lacking in that space to actually one of the leaders globally. And Edvinas, yes, looking at you. You were the vice minister at that time, yes?
Correct. And very well remember those years when first cybersecurity index was released and Lithuania was ranked 56 in the world. So somewhere nowhere. About nothing, about not communicating, about not defending, about not cooperating, and so on. And at that moment, it was clear that the world was already changed because of Crimea events in Ukraine, and because first time we heard that hybrid warfare description, right? Seeing military disinformation, it was 2014, 15, right? And cyber attacks at the same moment doing bad things on that land. And it was clear that it was so quickly being transformed that those threats had to be addressed differently. And at that moment, many people said, Edvinas, you are crazy. You are building cybersecurity and the Ministry of Defense. It will never work in the world. And no one believed that we will be successful. And as you said, in a couple of years, we were 4th in the world. So I believe that our strategy, our forces, our consolidation in the Ministry of Defense, because remember, we are fighting in the peacetime the war that is happening in digital. It is very important, right? So we need to be ready to defend ourselves in peacetime and be ready for bad times if they come, right? So new strategy, new capabilities, National Cybersecurity Center, and I'm glad that Liudas is today with us, who are defending the whole country and the whole infrastructure, critical media, together with people and businesses. They can feel a little bit more safe, or at least they know that government takes care about them. So this was the beginning, and now we are seeing that this effort gave us some results.
What do you think were the critical success factors, and sort of, because, you know, there are several areas. There's the legal framework,
yes,
capability building, cooperation, technical capabilities.
Three aspects. First of all, of course, legal and strategy. It was clear that we need to reshift our laws to be able to defend. Secondly, international cooperation, because in cyberspace alone, you can do nothing. It's not a local police, you know, running around the building and catching some criminals. It's about chasing people that are sitting in friendly countries that are friendly to you and doing bad things to your critical infrastructure, to your media, stealing data, stealing your ideas, and so on. So that's how we created a Cyber Rapid Response Team project. And being as a lead, we can call at the moment to Lithuania and to any other mission people, our partners from different countries to help us and fight with those criminals. And third, of course, I truly believe, and I think it helped, consolidation on the Ministry of National Defense. Because what I saw coming to the office, that many agencies were fighting with each other, who is the best, who should control this incident, or who should be in charge of another one, and nothing was happening. They were just arguing. So being under one umbrella and not fighting for people, not fighting for the budget, doing projects and legal stuff together helped us to be more light, more quick, and deliver results more quickly.
That really gives a nice intro to Liudas, and I would like to ask about the current state of the National Cybersecurity Center, the strategy that you have for the center, but also perhaps expanding a little bit in terms of the effect and the resources that you offer to the public, to the businesses and other institutions.
Well, thank you. I'll come up with an answer. Just a fast remark to what Edvinas has said. Currently, we all hear about NIS2, about challenges, and many countries, especially here in Europe, face a lot of challenges. So coming back, the legislation that we have transformed at that moment more or less already spoke about such architecture. What is coming now with NIS2. So for Lithuania, of course, we have challenges, things to do, but it's much easier for us at this moment than comparing even with us against strong countries like big countries like France or Germany in Europe. So at that time, those strategic decisions that have been made, they do provide dividends at this moment. So coming back with the answers to the question, so National Cybersecurity Center, yes, we are core authority responsible for our country's resilience against cyber threats of critical infrastructure, of course, important our country's databases and so on and so forth. So having such responsibilities, we have our strategy or following continuing the strategy. So at this moment, we have focused on 4 strategic pillars or guidelines. We speak about training. One of our tasks to train, and when we speak about training, usually we speak about or think about cyber defense or cyber effect capabilities, but we speak about whole packages. We speak about awareness or required requirements for top managers. Cyber defense as itself, it's not only one firewall, 15 experts. It's a whole system, from decision making, from strategy. I speak about a company, whether it would be public or private. So it's a whole system. When decision makers, they do decisions based on risks. They do invest in their resilience, not in cyber. We speak, you should invest in cyber. No, you should protect your business. You should invest that your products and services would be as much resilient to cyber threats, especially nowadays. So when we speak about training, we speak about IT professionals, non-IT professionals, HR specialists to be more resilient against phishing attacks that are still very successful and will remain. So we have 4 groups, and we believe that going that way, providing with the training, with the education, with the communication, it can build us a strategic resilience in these areas. So one thing. Another pillar or direction when we speak about our clients, currently by the law we have about 500 entities, public and private companies, yet in reality we have about 1,500 our clients, and with NIS2 our client scope will definitely expanded. So here we speak about professional risk profiling of our clients to be able, from all the data that we gather from our sensoric networks, to tell even for our clients, from our perspective, your company, your business, your services look like this, and these are red areas. You should pay attention here, invest a little bit more, train your people a little bit more, and so on and so forth. Edvinas has already mentioned a partnership. We can speak about PPP, and we will speak to during this panel. But partnership with our neighbor countries, partnership at national level between us, institutions that deal with national incidents like police, like intel services. Partnering can help us to learn from each other, to exchange information as soon as possible, to provide united response to cyber criminals. Usually, at this moment, I think that criminals operate better than defenders. Why? Because they have no names. They can say, I have stolen data. Who has card physical? I have. They cooperate to do bad business. So we have be better than them. So that's main directions we are moving. Not all, of course, but yep.
Excellent. And I think it's great that you touched on the sort of cooperation between the government institutions and the business. And I would like now to turn to Simonas as industry representative. What role do you think businesses can play in strengthening our joint cybersecurity landscape, and perhaps share some specific examples?
Yeah, thank you very much, Gintarė. And of course, PPP was already a bit mentioned, and I would say that this collaboration is essential for the joint success. I remember a couple months ago we were having one high-level conference and about security, and there were a lot of different governmental representatives from across the world, and one of the very senior of them said that some time ago it would be unimaginable that you, tech players, would teach us or consult us, let's say, how to defend the nations. And right now, actually, given the amount of data, given the amount of signals, which those usually very big tech players are having, actually, it's essential to collaborate. And, there are multiple ways of collaboration. Of course, we can talk about, as governments usually don't don't develop tech per se. Of course, there are some exceptions, but usually governments use private product solutions. So here, advancement of innovation, also services or expertise, trainings, as well as sharing some additional threat analysis, joint incident response. There are several of areas where businesses and governments can collaborate. And actually not only can, but collaborating, because in Lithuania we also have very nice examples between some major players like Microsoft, Google, IBM, local integrators and players, and very nice collaboration with gentlemen sitting here, and as well, other governmental institutions. So.
Excellent. And I'll now turn to Zoya. So, we talked at the big, sort of at the high level, but, you have a consultancy that actually consults companies and, try to upskill, from the grassroots, really. Perhaps also sharing your views in terms of the general business understanding about the cybersecurity's importance and what it means, actually. What are your takeaways?
Of course, nowadays we have digital area and digital world, and of course cybersecurity everywhere, even on iPhone, on TV, or whatever, smart city. So talking about services, really, you need to understand what is your clients are facing, what's the problem, what's the risk. And already Luda said that business is starting from risk assessment to understand those are core businesses and how to protect or prevent core businesses from the threats. And when you analyze the real situation based on sectors, based on where they are dealing, where the businesses are clients, if it's governments, or the businesses, or, I don't know, education, you adapt your approach in your services, what you really could provide in the best way. And we already had a discussion today about partnership. And alone, really, you can't measure and can't protect from cyber threats we are facing on nowadays. So really how we are working, we try to understand the business and see how we could help. And if we need to have partnership, involve partners to help them, it means them clients, to even prevent and then rapidly detect and respond. And in this area, it's so important to have cooperation between each elements of ecosystems. So public, governments, education, businesses, technology companies, this ecosystem, and we need to share expertise, share research and development to adapt rapidly to the changing, to new threats, because every day something is coming, and if you're alone, you will not ever detect something, because you will know maybe that it exists, and maybe someone already hacked you, but you even don't understand. And what is really crucial, it is awareness training, to train people to understand how to act in the digital area, what is fine, what is not, and each of us should be responsible of everything what we are doing. And from business spheres, what I see and what is really important to have support from C-level, at a company side, because IT, it's not like something around, it's like, okay, some system is working, it's fine. IT security is a part of the business, and they should be involved, sitting together and discuss what we can do to save business, to optimize things, and to build world really secure.
Excellent. Yeah, I think when we think about cybersecurity, it's not just about tech solutions and the products, but really a lot about people and behaviors and the culture within organizations that we have to really focus almost equally when we want to ensure that there is resilience and proper actions, I suppose, to handle those threats.
Yeah, and what is important from my side, business is really willing to share. In some cases, we don't have possibility to do this because of something barrier or limit or something like that. But always, all parties should find a way how to cooperate.
And are there any practical ways to share, I don't know, information about attacks, or perhaps this is where National Cybersecurity Center can come in? Like, if I'm a small business, what kind of resources I can tap into?
There are already developed technologies for IntelliShare. Nothing to reinvent already. And by the way, one of the most or best known technology is called MISP. So funded by EU. So there is technology, there are networks. Yet sharing, I would say, is not as active as it could be. Core reasons are, what does that mean? I am sharing. It means that I have capability and resources to our teams who dig into the bytes and extract information, then you can share, or something like that. So technologies are in place, but still there are some constraints that doesn't enable or expand the sharing and effect at full scale. And another key moment is trust. Sharing is caring, but usually it's quite sensitive data, especially if there are some project operations, something like that. So you have to trust a lot to your partner, whether it's a public sector or a private sector, that information you share will not return with some kind of damage back to you. So sharing is important. Still have some obstacles, but overall, what we observed that countries, businesses, all entities, they move that direction, step by step, solving problems arising or face. So I strongly believe that we are in a good direction, and it's only a matter of time when we will be fighting together against all evil. Mm-hmm. I hope it will be tomorrow, but...
Well, Lithuania is already leading on rapid response teams and regional cooperation frameworks, and also sharing the knowledge and training the specialists in some other countries as well. So already a lot of steps have been taken. I will just make a quick note to the audience that if you have any questions to the panelists, you can use Slido and ask the questions. I will try to incorporate them if we have time. But yeah, please do share. The event name is Vilnius 700. Okay, well then, continuing, I think, on to the talent question, which is pertinent to all tech companies. It's like, how do we get the tech talent? How do we develop the one that we have? And again, perhaps taking your views in terms of initiatives, both public, private, that are being taken to both diversify the talent, to upskill the ones that are already in the industry, and also to attract new talent, as we say, talent pipeline development, right? So perhaps starting with you.
Okay, I very well remember the program, how we started returning those talents back to Lithuania, because I purely understand that each country has a lot of young or older people that are very bright, very talented, experts in their topic. They just can't find a job that they would believe in, right? And you need to propose something extraordinary, interesting, something with a purpose, something that is, coming from your heart. Like in Lithuania, we are fighting for our independence for many years, because we very well remember those 50 years under repression of Russia, being occupied, and we don't want to happen it ever again. I want to live in this very nice country with my children, with independence in my heart. So what we started to do is inviting back and giving them opportunity to create, right? To do something specific that is very important to the country, kind of leading those international corporations, right? Leading the teams that invest or do some R&D and create those technologies, and some, yes, you are right, more on business side are being developed, but government also invests into some technologies. But then we noticed that there is a huge gap, because we have a good idea, right, a good model, a demo, but we don't have money or financial instruments to create business from this money. So to keep those talents in here, and that's what we learned, that risk capital can come, right, because you will never get a loan in a bank for a young business, right, or you will not take off kind of 300,000 euros and invest into your own idea that you truly are not sure if it will be successful, because you're a good expert or R&D person, but you don't have a clue how to do business, right? So what we did in Lithuania, and I'm pretty sure it's a very good step, we created a bunch of funds, especially financing those ideas, those youngsters, those pre-seed and seed companies that have an idea, have a good opportunity to show their talent, just they need some support, some learning, and some financing for their business development. So this
I will just maybe specify that this is specific early stage funding for dual use technologies. And
not only dual use was the last step.
Yes,
I'm proud to present the dual use fund, right? But other risk capital funds doing in deep tech, in science, in health and other topics were being developed for already probably 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Dual use, the topic that came after the war, right? And is very popular now, because what can be used in defense, in military, can be used in civil life also. You know, the same drone that is unmanned can, you know, deliver some cargo to the battlefield, and it can work in Greece and work with fire in the forest and without, you know, risking men's lives.
Yeah, but I think it's important to note that definitely the Miltech, the innovation in cybersecurity and defense is at the forefront in Lithuania discussions now, and the fact that we have separate funding for specifically for those kind of innovations.
And again, it comes from government because it's the biggest investor. It invests in security by providing money and providing chance for those talents to create, right, to do something good.
Excellent. What about diversity in cybersecurity, and what has been done so far, and how do you see that evolving?
I think a good example is Women in Cyber, or Women for Cyber, and we have in Lithuania now 56 members of this association, and we are happy that women really want to reskill or really change career and became cybersecurity experts. Really, cybersecurity landscape is really huge. It could be from lawyer, GDPR expert who is working with personal data. It could be really technical things. But what we already did, we tried to mentor a new generation or who would like to reskill or upskill. So we are talking already in Lithuania to build some academy program to have some structure to do so. We are in discussion, and we already had good partnership with universities when cybersecurity experts go to university, present experience, show role models, because sometimes really you women maybe don't understand correctly what it is IT, and usually we have misunderstanding, talking, for example, for development part. It seems like, oh my goodness, it's so difficult, but it's not nowadays. Maybe some time ago it was really difficult, but nowadays we have really progress on innovation, on all stuff. So I think that the main important on diversity is try to involve and engage people to participate, to put hands on, not only theoretical part, but to put hands on. And in this way, we're trying to establish like laboratories, not only theoretical part, but people can come to businesses and have internship, have practice and all those stuff. So it's already done. I do believe that we will have more and more. And today it's a conference related to technical part. I saw more women, and it was so nice to see. And one more thing, again, related to international cooperation. Women for Cyber came from Europe, and foundation is from Europe. And now we have global cooperation like Greece, Denmark, Latvia, and we're trying to do things together, to share how we could train better, faster, and adapt a business need to skills, to competences, and all those stuff. And I do believe that governments also do really nice, good program in relation to awareness and training and all those stuff. So happy to see progress. And sharing myself, journey to become IT person, I started from simple things, and I am happy that I have mentors who help me, support, and mentor. So I'm trying to do so now. Sorry.
Can I add something with an example?
Okay.
Zoya, if you don't mind, I'll tell one secret about us. In Lithuania, we opened Cybersecurity Expert Association.
Yes.
And I was the only man there in management board. So women were leading and showing initiative to create and
yeah.
Very soon we will explain to everyone around what this association is about.
Excellent.
But women took a lead in Lithuania to open it. So applause to women, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Edvinas. And what is really, I would say, cool in this area, and what we already talked about, PPP, private-public partnership, we're trying to build cybersecurity community. To sharing, to work together, to bring value to the country. because when we are together, we can do a lot of things. Lithuania is so smart and talent people, so love all initiative, and thank you for support. So, yeah.
Simonas, perhaps from association's perspective, because you unite a lot of tech companies, they are concerned. You may not be in cyberspace themselves, but perhaps there are some initiatives that you could share.
Absolutely. So basically, talent scarcity is one of the key things we are facing as individual members, as overall society. And actually, it's not only Lithuanian phenomenon. More or less the same issues are facing any country, even the most developed ones as the US. So here, definitely, we are aiming, and that's one of the key strategic areas for us also to invest here and to help to develop, to grow the capacity, to help to develop here. And here we are talking about different programs. Definitely, we are talking about different age levels: preschool, school, universities, reskilling, upskilling, seniors, etc. So most of the IT companies, especially bigger ones, they are having their own content, their own training systems, their own programs, certification systems, etc. And the best thing that most of those things are for free. So definitely that requires investment over time, like everything in life. But money-wise, usually these things are available. On the other hand, it's not so easy, to choose between many alternatives, and that's one of the areas we also need to help. So that's why also we are launching some of those formats like National Cybersecurity Forum. It was held already a couple of years. We had the pleasure to have Liudas in the last session. It was in May. So definitely we'll repeat that. And also the idea is to basically to bring the awareness and to develop this system. So maybe last but not least, right now, Infobolt, together with partners from 12 other countries, are involved in a very interesting project. It's called Rewire. It's EU-based project, and the idea is to build the framework, the blueprint, and the training programs in order to close this gap of cybersecurity. So, stay tuned, and more updates will come here.
Excellent. I have checked the questions. We have one very specific question, but it also sort of leads us into the future outlook, which I will also ask to share in terms of what key trends you can predict in this field. But the question is around the data privacy, and it sounds around like currently we perceive certain data to be private, such as, I don't know, our taxes paid information or income declaration. And can it be actually perceived in a broader sense private? And in the future, will it be less and less private, that kind of data?
Who is the I will try to start. Actually, there are two camps probably. We as a persons, we really are concerned about privacy. It's sensitive information. And we can build one scenario. We protect highly our privacy. What does that mean? We fully close. For example, it's a ultimate scenario. Fully closed all private data. That is probably all data, yes. On the other hand, all technologies, like we already not that discussing, we see real examples like generative artificial intelligence, what kind of effect and the potential it has. These type of technologies, they are built or grown on data, so we have two camps. We can strongly protect, or we can release access and build potential to make lives easier, and so my prediction, we will be fighting, but we have to find like a balance. Maybe sometimes to have more. We should dare more to open our data to enable technology improvement and evolvement, and in harmonized approach, that not human beings to become just a tool or thing or resource for technologies, but protecting at balanced level our data and privacy, still enabling technologies to evolve and at the end of the day help us to solve really big issues like warming, like the demographic problems and so on and so forth. So we have to balance.
Okay, so harmonized, regulated opening of data and of course, the advance of AI, yeah? What would be other predictions?
Well, what I see in here, that a lot of ladies and some gentlemen are using their phones and sharing their personal data at the moment I speak. And delivering this for free to someone they don't know even to whom. And this is your privacy, right? More and more, we lose our privacy and we don't manage it anymore. What comes to digital, it stays there. We need to understand this. You cannot erase it like with a pencil, right? Nothing is erasable in digital. All remains there. So if being a young, you're joking, you're drinking and making fun, some 10 years later, when you will go to get a job, your boss may say, no, you're not a good guy. Look what you did 10 years ago. So let's keep in mind that. And of course, the regulatory part is so much important because I, as a business, as a company, I need to know how to carry your data. I need to be responsible with keeping it as long as only needed and erasing in such a way that it could not be restored or reused without your permission, of course, right? So more and more what in the EU we are talking about is about creating some rules on how we treat the data. The answer is we need some regulation and it is in place. We need to play under those rules, but we need to understand that more and more we lose our privacy.
So the human factor again, right?
And at the moment we are doing, some filming, broadcasting, and later on there will be a diagram sitting, not me, not my person in here, and it will be some video, projection for the conference. So, and it will be created by intelligence, by artificial intelligence, having some samples of conferences that I was acting in that. So
and the audience will be holograms as well?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I'm glad we still have you
artificial
physically here.
will be talking with artificial, right?
Excellent, thank you. Zoya, what are your thoughts about the future?
I think already we mentioned that human-centric identity is very important nowadays. So what business is doing, and we already discussed regulation and standard and frameworks. So it's became really important to have security by design and privacy by design. So when you're creating something, build systems, develop software, wherever, you need to think about people who will use it and how you will protect from the beginning. So I think it's really important. And of course, awareness. We need to have awareness wherever we can to show how we need to act in digital area, what is okay, what's not. And maybe time to time we need to think what you are putting on Facebook, LinkedIn, or wherever you do that. So be careful and responsible yourself in digital area.
Okay, so security by design. So basically starting any kind of business, one of the initial thoughts would be, how do I protect both the business and, let's say, customers and their data as well? And education. Of course. Yes, and culture. Excellent, thank you. Simonas.
Yeah, so basically, no, business generally agrees that regulation is necessary and it's important, and the same NIS directive which will come in place, it's also important to take a note because it will impact quite a lot of businesses or industries. But on the same time, it's also important not to over-regulate because that might stifle innovation. And, at one side there is a very hard regulation, another another side there is, let's say, this user experience and everything. So we need to find, I think that Liudas mentioned, balance in between in order to make those services in general, digital area accessible and user-friendly, but on the same time, yeah, regulated and limited to some kind of major threats we might face otherwise.
Okay, so I take it as a balance between innovation and advancement and the regulation and protection, right? This is the hardest thing. But thank you so much. Our time is up. Thank you, Simonas, Liudas, Zoja, and Edvinas. It was an insightful conversation. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.